All right. You got the drugs?
Yeah, you got the money?
Yeah, that was the arrangement.
It's 100% pure DSP that I'm handing you right now. You know that.
Yeah, let me check it out.
All right, here you go.
Okay. Yeah, this looks pretty good.
It is very good.
Oh, great. You've done a good job.
Let me see the money.
Oh, yeah, here you go. It's in this briefcase.
All right, well, this looks perfect.
Yeah, it's the right amount.
Successful drug deal there?
Yeah, I guess this went pretty well.
Mission
Okay.
accomplished.
All right, yeah,
see you
see you later.
Bye. All right.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Ooh.
I'm Graham.
And I'm Ashkahn. And quick announcement before we start the episode. The Float Conference is coming up.
It's awesome. It's great. You'll love it.
That's right. It's August 18th.
You're probably
19th.
already coming to it.
You're probably already coming, but if you are not, then you should. And
it'll be awesome.
Yeah,
we'll be there.
Yeah. And if you are and you don't have tickets yet, this is the time to buy them. There's
oh man, delay no longer.
Yeah, there's a big discount for early bird tickets. That discount is going to end on July 19th. So you better buy them before then.
You all get that July 19th.
That's
get
right.
your tickets
Yeah.
before July 19th or you'll pay hundreds more money in your firstborn child.
Hundreds, so much more money. You should just do it right now. Just do it. We'll wait here.
Oh, sorry, you're back. I didn't see you there.
Yeah. Good. Well, great. Now you're coming to the conference. We'll see you next month.
Yep. Welcome to our real podcast question period. and today's question for you is, how have your methods of growing your business changed since the inception of your business?
Oh.
I think they mean, yeah, not like the movie, too.
That is how our business started, actually. Fun fact.
Oh, yeah, that's what you remember.
If we even have a business.
So
yeah, back when our business was just a wee little tot, huh?
Yeah, the little pitter-patter of float-on feet scattering across Portland.
So we started in 2010.
Yeah, which is like 90 years ago in float years.
Yeah, so much has happened since then. So it's almost... I mean, I almost feel just as much has changed about just the fact that our business has been around for those years as much as just like the world at large, the floating world, like how much has changed in the world of floating in general.
So I count at least 3 things going on here.
Okay. All right.
At least.
Okay, good.
All right, so
let's go through them.
Yeah, so there's just, like you said, there's just times changing. You know, when we opened, there were not many float centers around. Yeah, it was horse and buggy largely, and just didn't feel the need to get away from all the bright flashing lights as much. Right, but so the float industry was way less developed, so there's just that part of it.
Yeah.
We grew as a business, which just means the things that we had to do early on aren't now the things that make the most sense for marketing. And in addition, we just learned some things, and we made mistakes, and we did stupid marketing things early on. We've learned what does and doesn't work for us specifically. So I'd say those are three things that have changed.
Yeah.
Categorically.
Yeah. That feels like pretty good. I'm not sure what could fit into something else.
Cool. So which one do you want to start with?
Let's talk about our business growing, the effects of our business growing.
So when we started, we had 0 people on our email mailing list.
Yep. Nobody was following us on Facebook.
Yep. No one even knew that we existed.
Yeah.
Because we didn't actually exist yet. So that was the beginning. And now we have thousands of people on our mailing list and
couple people like us on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. 1 or 2, my parents mainly, but it's a step. And there's also just something that happens as awareness builds about, like, around your community about your business.
Yeah.
I kind of always, like, on a very dramatic scale, I think of it as the Coca-Cola kind of effect, right? Like, Coca-Cola invests so much marketing into basically just reminding people they exist and being front of mind and being out there and being the soft drink that people think of as a result of having Coca-Cola in as many product placements as possible, on as many billboards, et cetera, et cetera. And that doesn't work, if you're just getting started out as a business, taking out giant billboards and doing product placement probably won't get you very far because there's no one to remind that you exist. You need to actually get people in to try it out. But as we've grown, we do kind of get to do more of that. So it's been kind of fun in the last couple of years. We get to do things where more people have heard of us, and we're making marketing outreach to remind them we exist rather than building up those initial clients and getting them out in the world.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard for me to keep these 3 points separate because
it's fine. We don't even need to stick to the 3 points. It's really just I wanted to lay those out as like categories of things that have changed.
I feel like hand in hand with that is just the spread of knowledge about float tanks in general.
Yeah.
Like how effective big blanket advertising is, I think is not only dependent on how long you've been around as a business and how much you're just doing that kind of gentle reminder to people who are like, oh, I got to go back to that place and float again. But I've also totally been talking to people from other towns. We go to a lot of these like sanitation conferences. We're talking to all these people about float tanks, and like I'll hear them say, oh yeah, I just saw like a billboard. I think one of those places that are opening up in my town. So like knowing about float tanks and then seeing some sort of blanket advertisement is nowadays like you could actually get someone to be like, oh, one of those is opening around here.
Yeah,
and
totally.
like it's all you need is that gentle reminder, as opposed to before, like when we were opening. I mean, what like a billboard would have to tell people float tanks exist, like explain what they are, explain why people should go, explain that one exists now. Like it was just so much.
Yeah,
it
and
was
then
such
also
a big
explain
step.
that they should go to your specific facility to float.
So that's just different. It's a slightly different float world now than it was back then. And you just, the amount of education you have to do to catch people up to speed to the point where they'll become your customers is a lot less.
For sure. I mean, even starting out like as a fresh business, you probably won't have as high a hurdle to get over in order to get that awareness to a nice point.
And specifically for us, we were really focused on this at the beginning. When we opened our business, pretty much all of our marketing efforts were just about getting people to know float tanks existed. We were going and giving guest lectures at universities. We were literally just walking around, talking to all the local businesses around us.
Yeah, we really hit the ground. Like it was.
Yeah. Our brochure is called The Beginner's Guide to Floating. Everything was focused on that simple concept of get people to learn that float tanks exist. And like that, and it was hugely necessary. When we first started, 9 out of 10 people when they'd walk by our shop had no idea what float tanks were.
And literally, like I remember going down Hawthorne, just kind of conducting an informal survey because I was curious and talking to about, 25, 30 people. And like 2 of them knew what float tanks are, and one of them had seen Altered States.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. That was the circumstances back then. So, I mean, and it probably differs city to city, but here in Portland now, when I strike up conversations, it's rarer that people haven't heard of what I do than the opposite.
Especially, at least for us, we stick around our neighborhood a lot. So in our like neighborhood around Float On,
everyone,
the chances that I'll run into someone, it's now literally like the opposite. 1 out of 10 people, I'll have to actually explain what float tanks are, and they kind of, and still halfway through my explanation, they realize they've kind of heard about it before. It's just a hugely different level of awareness than it was when we first started, and that's changed a lot about how we approach.
Oh, the saltwater rub-a-dubs. Yeah, I've heard about those things. Yeah.
Yeah, it opens up, possibilities for us to do things like newspaper ads and have a little bit more faith that kind of blanket sort of marketing will be effective for us.
Yeah. And yeah, what else? I guess other big things that have changed just kind of related to us getting bigger is we're able to rely on our mailing list more now.
Yeah.
It's
our existing
one of the
customer base.
Yeah. Like as that grows over time, I mean, not only do you get more word of mouth and everything like that, but now when you need to get an announcement out there or you do want to offer a special or anything like that, all of a sudden you don't need to shell out as much money for new eyeballs to get that message. You already have this existing client base that has subscribed to emails from you and that you can notify that these things are going on. And that is a gigantic asset. I mean, like collecting a bunch of email addresses may sound simple and small, but I've belabored the point to every single apprentice who comes through and probably multiple times on this podcast that a huge email mailing list is just one of your best friends for marketing. And this is one of the nice things about growing over time. And if you're diligent about collecting those emails, that you can get a really huge email list even by year 2, year 3, and stop having to rely as much on outsourced marketing.
Yeah, and it shows in what we've done as a center. Like we ran Groupons and things like that in the beginning, and because we didn't have a big audience of our own to reach out to, and they had, many thousands of people on a mailing list that we could be blasted out to. And we haven't run one in some years now, because now if we want to try to put out a deal or something like that, we can send it to our email list. We can put it on our own social media pages, and just between our own audiences that we've built up, we're reaching thousands of people.
Yeah. And I guess, one way and another way it's changed is we're just starting to toy with some more paid advertising. Kind of as a result of this, we've grown our base, we've gotten a lot of word of mouth going, and now we're just kind of wondering how we break into these different demographics and different circles of people who, during the course of our 8 years, we kind of haven't naturally pulled in a lot of. And for that, we're turning to both internal demographics analysis and also doing some paid advertising outreach, mainly on Facebook, which if you look at the industry report, Facebook kind of is the place to spend money if you're doing marketing. Goes word of mouth and then Facebook and then everything else whenever you look at the industry report. So, and in the past, our policy really was just we believed so much in word of mouth and getting people in the tanks, we'd way rather spend money on whatever it took to kind of get them in and get that word of mouth rolling rather than specifically advertising in order to get them in. So, again, that's just something that's changed as we've matured.
Yeah, and I think there's just more stability in general. I don't mean to say that you don't have to hustle as you can.
Yeah.
There's always hustle, but we don't have to hustle quite as hard as we were when we were beginning. People come in and float, and some people just float once, maybe twice a year. And the longer you're in business, the more of those people you will just start collecting. That will be coming in for their annual float or their, once every 6 months sort of float.
Yeah, so by year 365, we should be
one person a year.
Or at least you'll have one person guaranteed a day, I guess, by that logic. Anyway, something like that.
We'll work with math on later.
Fix it in post. What was the third category that I said at the beginning?
Mistakes we've made.
Yeah, mistakes that we've made.
Nah, I can't think of any.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the things that we've learned from aren't things that would necessarily go poorly for other float centers in other areas. Some of them are just things that I think we've had more trouble with in Portland, or same thing, I guess, for the things we've succeeded at too. I know places that are succeeding at different marketing than we've had luck with in the past, some people on the industry survey say that radio, they're absolutely killing it with.
Wow.
It's the minority, but there are some centers out there who are seeing a great return on radio advertising, right?
Yeah.
So you can't eliminate anything. Testing is always the thing to do, I guess, is the takeaway.
And just the longer we've been around, and we've played with more pricing. We've played with different types of discounts. We've played with different membership structures. We've changed the price of our base floats. Over the years, we're kind of honing that stuff in a little bit more. We know now, hey, we shouldn't run a discount like this because we had all these problems with it before.
Yeah, so changing discounts, stopping running Groupons, starting to run with paid advertising. I'm trying to think of actual mistakes that I feel like we made early on. I think that we covered it during our pricing episode pretty well, but just a really brief recap was we launched without any memberships. Kind of with some wacky different pricing models, and definitely launching without memberships. You might not call it a mistake because it was an experiment to see how many full price people we could see coming in, but I suggest every center out there has membership options. Recurring revenue just stabilizes your business so much, and that's one of the things that as your business matures, you can rely on that stabilized income from memberships, and like Ashkahn said, you just have to hustle a little less often. So starting with memberships, and in our case, not starting with them was, I'd say, maybe a little bit of a marketing mistake.
Yeah, I guess just improving the quality of our floats. I just think we run a better float now than we did before. We've just had the years to hunt down a progressively smaller list of annoyances, there's little noises, and it's just hard. It's hard at the beginning to make sure some random sound that happens in the afternoon that's popping up and you're like, what is that? And so slowly but surely you kind of work out those tweaks and you fix any little light leaks, and we've had an eye on that for the entire time we've been open. And then I think that's at the very least super important to always keep on your list. That's the kind of foundation of the whole thing.
Yeah, quality is your best marketing. Just because word of mouth is your best marketing. And
right.
By extension, the better experience that you can deliver and the more people want to talk about it means that's where you should invest your money. So as that's gotten smoother over the years, I think that's another part of us actually starting to invest more in paid advertising is because we've invested so much money in making sure the quality of floats is there and our rooms are so nicely set up and everything like that. Maybe just a quick touch on things that we haven't changed and have no intention of changing before we wind down.
Sure.
Okay, maybe just things we haven't changed.
Things
No
we
intention
haven't
of changing is bad because I always want to be ready to change everything, So maybe I spoke too soon. But
We've been doing 90-minute floats the entire time.
yep, 90-minute floats. I was going to say we've been relying a lot on that, like just on the quality of experience for a long time, and on giving out free floats liberally to introduce people to the tanks.
Yeah. And
Just like the experience in the tank, I guess, being its best marketing, and thus investing in giving out free floats rather than paid advertising is something we've always done.
Yeah, and our biggest marketing campaigns from day one till now is finding some sort of subsection community in Portland and like actively working some sort of program with them.
Yeah, like our art program, our
Yeah.
music program. We're just in the process of launching a kind of marathon runner program right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, these kind of special programs hitting niche groups. Yeah, I don't see that changing anytime soon. We've always had a website.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
We've always had a mailing. I mean, yeah, from day one before we even opened. Like while we were in construction, we just had little hand-cut slips of paper in a little handmade paper box taped to our door that said, "Give us your email address," and slip it through our mail slot.
Yeah, it's very true. I guess investing also in good customer service.
Yep.
Is a big part of it. Like presents for our customers and members. If anyone complains, being very liberal with discounts and free floats. Just kind of like making sure, even if they don't have the best experience in the tanks, interacting with our business out of the tanks more than makes up for that. And they can, if they had a bad experience, they won't have spent money. It's stuff like that is still just like the customer service, making sure every person leaves happy, even if they didn't have a great float is.
I think we're gonna stop that pretty soon. I think we should go more the like float Nazi sort of.
Okay.
People know us as kind of this
no float for you.
Rude place, but our floats are so good they come anyway.
Okay, I hadn't heard that idea, but
we got to be ready to pivot.
I'm open to testing. I like testing things. Yeah, so that's again. I just wanted to touch on some things that seem more universal for our marketing.
Yeah,
that's some of them.
And again, quality control, running good floats, keeping an eye on good floats, listening to people when they say the temperature or light leaks or noises, or making sure that you're kind of always actively trying to solve those problems.
Police siren Sunday. We let everyone out of the tank with police sirens. That was a good.
That lasted one Sunday.
All right, everybody. I think that about winds up our episode. So if you want to hear more of us, you know what to do. Go to floattanksolutions.com/podcast. And we'll talk to you later.
Bye.